If I were to watch your filmography from start to finish all the way through, like how much of you would I, in a way, learn more about just by watching the films that you've done?
That's such an interesting question.
I kind of feel like this film and Mother were like kind of like companion pieces in
Yeah,
a way, like really, really in a really interesting way.
I can get my second Razzie.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
This is a big question, but when this movie was over, it honestly really left me wondering, is she going to be okay? And I'm really curious how much, or if all, do you think about your characters after you're done playing them? And is there one in particular you'd be most curious to know just how life worked out for them?
Hmm. Rosalind from American Hustle. I would love to know what she's up to. Um, this one was interesting because I think when I was shooting it, I was pregnant. And so I think that there were certain things that I just like didn't know that I was not like able to compute. And one of them would be like the possibility that she walks into the forest and doesn't come back out. And I was just like, no, there's no way she wouldn't leave her baby. She wouldn't. And then when I saw the movie again after having had my baby and not being pregnant, I was like, oh, maybe.
That's actually kind of brings up my next question because I'd imagine that there are some films where if you shot while being pregnant, maybe it wouldn't make much of a difference or add anything to the character. But while you were on set, in addition to sort of what you just told me, were there other things that kind of that you unlocked that you were able to do that you were able to reach that if you're being honest, maybe if you weren't pregnant, you wouldn't have been able to unlock that within the character?
Definitely. I think the stalking animal thing happened when Lynn was just kind of watching the entirety of the situation, and me being pregnant was a part of the situation. And when you're pregnant, are you're doing something kind of animalistic. You like feel like a beast, you know? I mean, you are, and these different parts of your brain are waking up. You're really aware, you're really focused, you're protective. And so I think that combined with like our move and me not having a community kind of led to this like almost like a lion in a cage, just like pacing around in their cage. And I think that just came from Lynn, you know, Lynn being a genius.
To that point, you've mentioned in past interviews that there's at least a small piece of you in all of your performances and all the roles that you've ever done. So I was wondering to some degree, like obviously we don't know you, like we're not close personal friends, but I'm sort of curious if I were to watch your filmography from start to finish all the way through, like how much of you would I, in a way, learn more about just by watching the films that you've done?
That's such an interesting question. Um, I think you would see grit, which I think, I'm not afraid of hard work, and I'm grateful to my parents for making me like always finish sports when I didn't want to and making me finish camp when I didn't want to. Um, and humor, which I feel like my dad taught me how to laugh at myself, and that's been a key to my life. So I don't know, grit, humor, warmth. I hope I'm warm because when people are cold, it scares me. And I hate feeling like people are mad at me. So I try to not be cold to people. So I try to be warm.
I'll get you out of here on this. And this is such like a pretentious like film critic thing to say, but that the house that you're in this film really does start to play kind of its own character in a way. And I'd love to know of all of you. I mean, you have filmed so many different locations around the world, so many different sound stages. Of all the sets or the locations where you filmed, which one most affected the final performance?
I mean, in Mother, the house was an extension of my character. So it's like aliveness. And that was the only time in a movie that like if I got a certain note, sometimes I would go barefoot so I could like really feel the house. Like just me and the house were intrinsically connected. So then when the house started to change, then that would inform how I was changing. But the other answer is in Don't Look Up, because we were on a studio, but when you're in the Oval Office, like it looked exactly like what you would imagine the Oval Office looked like. And that was like, you know, you're just kind of like,
I've always wanted to go in one of the fake like movie Oval Offices.
It was
it's probably
so
the closest I'll
cool.
ever get. In a crazy way, I hope I'm not nuts by saying this. I kind of feel like this film and Mother were like kind of like companion pieces in
Yeah.
a way, like really, really in a really interesting way.
I can get my second RAZZie.
You did not.
Yeah.
For Mother?
Yeah. I don't know if I won one. I might have just been nominated, but I'm pretty sure I won one.
No, Mother's a masterpiece, and I've told Darren that before. I love you. I love talking with you. You always give us just amazing conversations because you give us great work, and I really do appreciate you always
Thank
making time.
you. That's so nice. Thank you.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.